pituitary, and then pineal gland. Right. So Martin, last class I remember I have shown you this one. Remember this this diagram, types of gland. Hello, Martin. Audible or not?
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay, right. So today we have to start with I'll follow the sequence which is given in your NCRT, right? So look, Martin, even in when I was telling you in the last to last class when we were doing the nervous system, I told you there are certain glands which are in our brain, right? In our brain. So in our brain there are three glands: hypothalamus gland, pineal gland, and pituitary gland. So pituitary gland is called master gland, right? So the first gland which we are going to do, that is the which one? Hypothalamus gland, right? So what is the hypothalamus gland basically, right? So hypothalamus gland, try to understand. This is the pituitary gland, this lowermost gland. I want your 100% focus over here, Martin, because here a bit complex, not too much complex, but a bit complex, and you need to understand over here. Look, this upper pink color part is called hypothalamus gland. From here onward, the lower part, which is a bit circular kind of thing, right? Uh, Globular thing. This part is called basically pituitary gland. Further, we have divided pituitary into three parts: posterior part, anterior part, and this intermediate lobe, right? So we have divided this lobe into three parts. So look, Martin, posterior port do not make or produce any kind of the hormone. So basically, the hormone which is produced by the hypothalamus gland is secreted by the posterior part or posterior lobe of pituitary gland. Is that clear, Martin? So that is for sure that posterior part secrete the hormones which is made or which is produced by the hypothalamus. Now come to the hypothalamus gland. Hypothalamus gland is called control center of supreme commander. What does it mean? It means that it controls the supreme commander. Who is supreme commander? So basically, supreme commander is pituitary, right? So this is pituitary. So pituitary is controlled by whom? It is controlled by hypothalamus. How does, right? It is also called secretary of pituitary gland. Why? So basically, pituitary gland work on the feedback mechanism. How does? For example, suppose that you have eaten lots of sugar. So lots of sugar is there in your blood, right? You have eaten sugar. Sugar will go to your digestive system. It will be digested by the blood. Now there is a lots of sugar in blood. If the sugar amount will be more in the blood, we will be diabetic, or our body will behave like a diabetic person. So what is that? That we need to control, body need to control our sugar. What will happen? So how sugar is controlled? Sugar is being controlled by, let me give you an example. Yes. So this is called basically feedback mechanism, and pituitary gland work on the feedback mechanism. So how does it work? Look. So what will happen? Sugar, there is a high sugar. High sugar, we need to control this high sugar. High sugar will be controlled by the help of which? Insulin hormone, right, Martin? So it will control. How high sugar will be controlled? The sugar will be controlled and stored into liver, right? And this sugar is converted converted into complex sugar, right? So it is converted to complex sugar, right? So how does it work? So it is controlled by insulin. Now what will happen? Suppose that there is a high sugar in our body. This information will be passed to hypothalamus gland. Hypothalamus gland will give the feedback to pituitary gland that there is very high sugar, and pituitary, you need to activate pancreas. Now pituitary gland will give the order with the help of hormone, right? It will release some hormone, and with the help of hormone, it will give order to pancreas. Pancreas will get order that please switch on the pancreas. The pancreas will be switch on. Now the insulin secretion will start and high sugar will be maintained. Now what will happen after every time insulin is being released, right? Now what happened? That sugar have came at its level. If more insulin will be secreted, the now the sugar will start coming down to at its level. When sugar will become will reach at equilibrium, it will be now again this feedback will be sent to hypothalamus gland, right? Again this feedback, right, is sent to hypothalamus gland. When hypothalamus gland will get this feedback, what it will do, it will ask pituitary gland, yes, please switch off the, right, the switch feedback to on, right, and feedback to off, feedback to off. Now, what will happen? Pituitary gland will give feedback. Hypothalamus will give feedback to pituitary gland that there is a low sugar. Now, pituitary gland will again give order to pancreas, and pancreas will switch off or stop the insulin secretion. That's how the hypothalamus works. That's why hypothalamus is called secretary of the master gland. So, pituitary gland is called master gland. It work on the feedback mechanism. Who give the feedback? Basically this is the secretary of pituitary, right? That's how it works. Martin did got this concept, feedback mechanism. Got it? Hello Martin, did you got this
Yeah,
concept?
yes, sir. Yeah, yeah,
You
I
got,
got it, sir.
so please note down this mechanism. This is called
Mhm.
feedback. It is important. This is not in any book. I've just given you this concept.
Yeah, done, sir.
Done? Okay, great. So look, uh, now this is the feedback mechanism. Now come to here. Okay. So first thing is that this is the control center of Supreme Commander. Now it work on the feedback, and you know you came to know. Uh, it secretes some neurohormone, right? Uh, it secrete the hormone which is secret neurohormone secreted by this. They are corticotropin releasing hormone, right? Thyrotropin releasing hormone, growth hormone, gonadotropin releasing hormone, prolactin, prolactin inhibiting hormone, right? Inhibiting hormone that will inhibit means stop, and releasing hormone that melanocyte releasing hormone, right, and melanocyte inhibitory hormone. These are the hormone which is secreted by pituitary gland, basically, right? Sorry, hypothalamus gland. And just a minute, if there is anything. Note down. Please note down. Hypothalamus gland. Hypothalamus gland lies inferior to thalamus. Full stop. It provide it provide anatomical connection. It provide anatomical connection between nervous and nervous and endocrine system. Full stop. Next point. The hormones of hypothalamus. The hormones of hypothalamus influences the hormones of hypothalamus influences the function of influences the function of influences the function of pituitary gland. Full stop. The hypothalamus is often called the hypothalamus is often called control center of control center of supreme commander. Control center of supreme commander of endocrine system. Full stop. Now you can note down the function which is written below, right? The hormones which is secret below, right? Martin, please note down. And you have to make this diagram as well after the class. Leave this space for that, and you have to make the diagram. Done, Martin?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, great. Now the next gland is that is the pituitary gland, right? So pituitary gland had basically three parts. As we discussed, anterior part, intermediate lobe, or posterior lobe, right? So three lobe. Fine. So pituitary gland is called master gland. It controls all the glands of the body. Fine. So anterior part releases the growth hormone or somatotropin hormone, right? Thyrotropin stimulating hormone, ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, prolactin hormone, mammotropin hormone, gonadotropic releasing hormone. So out of these gonadotropic releasing hormone, there are two hormones, FSH and LS, that you need to remember. It both FSH and LS, that is follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone. These are secreted by pituitary gland. Now, the hormones which are secreted by intermediate gland, they are a melanotropin, like melanotropin or melanocyte stimulating hormone. They give color to our skin and hair, right? Hormones uh, that released by the posterior lobe, they are called pituitary, right? There are two hormones. They are also very important. Oxytocin, this is milk ejecting hormone in female. When a female give birth to young one, the secretion of milk takes place from mammary gland because this hormone start releasing after the birth of a child. And contraction of uterine muscles during the birth, it help in the contraction of uterine muscles, right? Vasopressin or ADH hormone, it is anti-diuretic hormone. Basically, it reduces the urine formation at the scarcity of water, right? So this is the pituitary. These are the hormones of pituitary gland and function of pituitary gland, right? So you can note down the pituitary gland first. Put heading pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is located just below. Pituitary gland is located just below hypothalamus. Full stop. It is the smallest endocrine gland. It is the smallest endocrine gland. Full stop. It is about 1.3 centimeter in diameter. It is about 1.3 centimeter in diameter and half gram in weight. Full stop. It is divided into three lobes: anterior, intermediate, and posterior lobe. Now you can note down the hormones which are secreted by anterior. So this is growth hormone. From the name itself, it is clear that is responsible for the growth. It promote protein metabolism. TSH, thyrotropin stimulating hormone, control growth. ACTH, control adrenal gland, which is found above the kidney. It is responsible for secretion of milk, female. gonadotropin hormone, development of gonads. When you note it down, please let me know. Anterior pituitary hormones. I'll scroll it down. Done, Martin?
Yes.
Now, please note down the hormones of these two. Intermediate lobe and melanocyte. I told you that responsible for pigmentation. That is skin, hair, and eye color. And oxytocin it is written over. Let me know, Martin, when you wrote it down.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Done, Martin?
So I'm done.
Okay. Please do. Done, Martin?
Yes, sir.
Great. Now come to the pineal glands. Pineal gland is basically this is the one of the uh, smallest gland after the pituitary gland. So look, this is light sensitive gland, and it secrete a hormone in absence of light. If light is present, then how does it sense the light? So basically, when our eyes are open and light is going inside our cornea, it won't work. So when we close the eye, basically the light entrance stops and it start working. It releases a hormone. The name of the hormone is melatonin hormone, and its size is zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.2 gram. This hormone is responsible for sleeping. So that's why it is called sleeping hormone. It induces sleeping, right? And this is also called a biological clock because it maintains the rhythmic cycle of 24 hours, right? We wake up at the morning, we go to the bed at the night, right? So this is called biological clock, right? So this is responsible for a rhythmic cycle. When we go to suppose at USA, so on that time what happened? The biological clock get disturbed, right? And that then this gland reset, right? So this is the function of this gland. That's why we cannot sleep with the open eyes, right? We have to close the eye because pineal gland will work only when we close the eyes. Clear, Martin?
Yes, sir.
Please note down. Done. Is it done, Martin?
Yes, sir.
Right. So the next gland is that is the thyroid gland. Yes, thyroid gland is the next gland. First, you need to understand where actually this is found. Fine. So when it comes to make the diagram, you have to make only this part, only this part. But diagram you need to make because they can ask you to draw the well level diagram and write it down about this. So try to understand, Martin. Basically, the thyroid gland, this is thyroid cartilage, and this pink color gland is the thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is basically made up of some vesicles, right? These vesicles. And around these vesicles, there are C cells, right? So these are called thyroid vesicles, right? These vesicles are bubble-like structure. They are filled with some hormones. And around that, there are C cells. C cells secrete a hormone called thyrocalcitonin. And this thyroid follicle, they release thyroxine. Thyroxine is a combination of T3 and T4. What is 3T? So collectively, T3 and T4 are known as the thyroxine. T3 is called triiodothyronine and T4 is called tetraiodothyronine, right? Tetraiodothyronine, tetraiodothyronine, right? So what is their function? So basically, they control the metabolic rate of body, right? Metabolic rate, responsible for protein synthesis. They are responsible for mental development, right? And heat production and maintain the body temperature. They produce the heat and they maintain the body temperature. And activation of neurotransmitter. So they control the action of neurotransmitter. So these are the function of thyroxine, right? And first, please note down. Make this follicle note down as it is, whatever is seen in your PPT. Done, Martin?
Your answer.
Done. Okay, great. Then thyrocalcitonin. So C cell secrete thyrocalcitonin. The it lowers the calcium level in the blood, right? It decreases the calcium, means it controls the calcium level in blood, and it suppresses the release of calcium ion from bones. So basically, what happens? Bones are the reservoir of ions, right? So when calcium ion decreases in our blood, it take from the bone. When there is an extra calcium ion in blood, it deposit in the bones, right? So the function of thyrocalcitonin, it lower the calcium level in blood, means it take the calcium from the blood and deposit into the bones, and then suppress the release of calcium and from the bones. Please note down. Done.
Yes.
Look, there are certain diseases which occur due to the this gland, means thyroid. So hyperthyroidism. Hyper means when secretion is more, right? So it causes exophthalmic goiter or grave disease, right? Exophthalmic goiter or grave disease. Exophthalmia or protrusion of eye. You can see this is the person look like that he or she is gazing to you. Their eye bulges out, right? So this is called exophthalmia. That exophthalmia, right? Exophthalmic goiter or grave disease. This is called exophthalmia, right? Yeah, and exophthalmia means protrusion of eyeball. Eyeball comes out. It appears that they are coming out. This is the diagram for that, right? And the second disease called as disease that is hypothyroidism, means when less secretion takes place. So first disease, that is a cretinism. It basically affect infant. It causes slow body growth, reduces metabolic rate, stunned growth, means less growth, pigeon chest look like that is a protruding pigeon, like it's like a pigeon like chest, and retarded sexual development. It reduces sexual development. And second, hypothyroidism is due to less secretion. Simple goiter. Simple goiter is defined. It causes by deficiency of iodine. Due to deficiency of iodine, production of this hormone, thyroxine reduces, and it causes thyroid enlargement. Thyroid enlargement. You can see this neck become very thick and swollen kind, right? And neck gets swell. This is the goiter. So this is the ordinary goiter. This is exophthalmia. So these are the three main diseases which is caused due to hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism. Please note down. Both are there in your NCRT.
Good answer.
Very good. And next is that is parathyroid gland. So look, parathyroid gland is just found behind the thyroid gland. So this is this picture is from the back side of it. I have taken. So thyroid gland is there, and this picture is taken from the back side, right? Back side of the thyroid gland. So at the back side of the thyroid gland, button-like structure, these yellow color structure, they are called parathyroid gland, right? They are made up of two kind of the cells, right? These glands are made up of two kind of chief cell and oxophil cells, right? Chief cells they secrete the parathormone or parathyroid hormone PTH, right? This is also called Collip's hormone. Oxophil cells, their function is not known yet, right? And the function of parathyroid gland or parathyroxine is that calcium and phosphate level between the blood and their tissue. It maintains the level of calcium and phosphate ion between blood and their tissue. Calcium reabsorption from nephron. It reabsorb the calcium from nephron. We have studied its function when I told you the urine formation. It inhibit the phosphate reabsorption from kidney, right? Rise of the calcium level in the blood. It is opposite to the thyroid hormone or thyrocalcitonin, right? And it increase the calcium level in the blood. This is the function, and then there are two disorder. First, please note down the function and its functionality, and this the structural part of the gland, and then I will let you know what are the disorder.
Good answer.
Done? Okay, great. Then there are two disorders, hypoparathyroidism and hyperparathyroidism. In hypoparathyroidism, that is the low secretion, right? Low secretion means less secretion of parathyroid gland or parathormone. So they lower lowering the blood calcium level, and this is called parathyroid tetany or hypocalcemic tetany, right? So due to lowering of the calcium level, right? You know, when the calcium level get low, muscles will stop working, and how the calcium work in the sliding filament theory we have understood already in the previous chapter. Hyperparathyroidism means hyper secretion, more secretion, softening of bone and bending of bone, right? This is called osteoporosis. And osteoporosis, it causes in the female and old age people, it causes softening and breakdown of bones, right? And the second thing which is causes that is the kidney stone, right? So please note down. These are the two disorders. Done. And the next is that is the yes thymus gland. So next is thymus gland. It is very important gland. Thymus gland is basically found between our lungs, means below the thyroid gland. Try to understand its location. That is important. This is the thymus gland. This is the only gland in our body which changes its shape. Right. When you are at the time of birth, it is 10 to 15 gram. At age of 30 to age of puberty, this is 30 to 40 gram. At the mid adult age, it is 10 gram, and it disappear at the old age. Right. People think that that basically this is responsible for aging, but yet it is not clear. And its function is WBC development, and it maintain the immunity of our body. Please note down thymus gland, function of thymus gland. Done, Martin? Is that done, Martin?
Yeah, done.
Okay. Uh, Next one is adrenal gland. It is very important, a bit complex. Try to understand. Look, basically the adrenal gland is divided into three parts. Try to understand. So adrenal gland are found at the top of the kidney, at both of the kidney, right? And this is also called the gland of emergency. Adrenal gland, this is the transverse section. In transverse section, you can see it is made up of three layers. The outer layer, outer covering is called capsule. Then there are three layers basically. The first innermost layer is called medulla. Then second layer is called cortex, right? You can see. And this is the third layer, right? So this is the outer layer is called capsule. Fine. So adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla, right? So there are the adrenal cortex is again divided into three parts. What are those parts? Zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, and zona reticularis. So cortex is further divided. You can see over here. Here, adrenal gland divided into two parts: adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla. Right? Again, the adrenal cortex divided in zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, zona reticularis. Here we can see adrenal cortex have the three layer. Out of these three layer, the outermost layer that secrete mineralocorticoid that maintain the mineral balance, and aldosterone or cortisone, right? Two hormone. So it secrete the two hormone. Further, you can see the zona fasciculata. It releases glucocorticoid, and cortisol, and cortisone hormone, right? So 95% of cortisone and then cortisol hormone. Fine. Then its function, the liver, its function, liver to synthesize the carbohydrate, increase the glucose level in the blood, right? Its function is opposite to insulin. Increase the amino acid in blood. uh, Anti-insulin effect means against the it work negative to insulin. Immunosuppressive, it suppress the immune system. Increase the RBC and decrease the WBC, and it is also called a stress hormone. This is the function of these hormone, glucocorticoid and cortisone and cortisol, right? Then the third part is Juna reticularis. Juna reticularis secrete the androgens, testosterone in male and progesterone in female. You know what is the function of testosterone and progesterone? These are the sex hormone. In male, sex hormone is androgen is testosterone, and female sex hormone is estrogen. Right? These two hormones are secreted by this Juna reticularis. Fine. So first, please note down the function and the structure of the gland. Aldosterone and cortisone are mineralocorticoid as aldosterone and cortisone. Let me know, Martin, when you do it.
Yeah, I'm done.
Done? Okay, great. Look, uh, note down this one. Done, Martin?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Note down, please. Note down first this one. Then I will tell you what are the disorders.
Yeah, done, sir.
Now, disorder, that is the Addison's disease, right? There are certain diseases. Addison's disease. Addison disease, this is due to deficiency of mineralocorticoid and glucocorticoid. Uh, this include the tuberculosis because in Addison disease, what happens? Tuberculosis, low blood sugar, and increase the sodium level in urine. Second disease, adrenal virilism. That is the excess of androgen in female, right? It is caused due to the excess of androgen in female. Gynecomastia, that is excess of estrogen in male. It causes the increase formation of mammary or increment of mammary gland in male, and development take place in male, right? So mammary gland increases. And in adrenal virilism, excess of androgens in female, it develops a male characteristic, right? So these are the three disorders. Please note down. Done, Martin?
Yeah, I'm doing, sir. Right answer.
Okay. So adrenal medulla. So this one. So we studied the cortex part, then medulla, central part. The medulla secrete norepinephrine, that is also called noradrenaline. It controls the blood pressure. It controls the blood pressure at normal condition. Epinephrine is called adrenaline, right? So it is emergency hormone. It is responsible for controlling heart rate or cardiovascular activity. Please note down. Norepinephrine, noradrenaline, that is the same thing. Epinephrine or adrenaline, that is the same thing.